President Trump's executive order bars illegal aliens from receiving federally funded benefits to the total of $177 billion.
And 130,000 of social services per illegal alien, that's more than most Americans make a year in the salary. So it is a major driver. I mean, I'm doing this a long time. I don't know how many times you hit a load house full of illegal aliens waiting for payment to get released.
The full might of the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and every element and instrument of national power will be used to remove, with speed, all criminal illegals from the soil of the United States of America, to enforce final removal orders, and to ensure that this country is for American citizens and those who legally belong in this country.
Mitch McConnell is finally calling it quits. Cash Patel has been confirmed, and the media is losing it over Trump's executive order ending federal funding for illegal aliens. All of this coming up in this video. As always, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But first, let's hear what Mitch McConnell had to say right before Cash Patel got confirmed.
To the distinguished members of this body, I've had the privilege to lead, and I remain deeply, deeply grateful. Today, however, it's appropriate for me to speak about an even deeper allegiance and even longer standing gratitude. 7 times, my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they placed in me to do their business right here. Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time. My current term in the Senate will be my last.
Now that's just a small part of his speech, but the bottom line is, this was a long time coming. I've said previously, he should have retired 20 years ago. I'm a huge supporter of term limits. He's probably one of the last remaining senators that represents an old version of the Republican Party that doesn't exist anymore. That being said, surprisingly, he voted yes to confirm new FBI Director Cash Patel on a vote of 51 to 49. So who are the 2 Republicans that voted no? Let's watch.
Good afternoon, John. Well, Bernie Moreno, the Republican senator from Ohio, just read the vote total, 51 to 49. Mitch McConnell, the former Republican leader who announced his retirement earlier today, he voted yes. Some people thought he might vote no, but there were 2 GOP no's. You had Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine. So 51-49. They did not need J.D. Vance here to break a tie in this instance. I should note that this is only the second nominee who's gotten more than 1 GOP no. You had Mitch McConnell, who's voted, being the only no on the Republican side a couple of times here. You have to go back to Pete Hegseth in late January, who got 3 GOP no's: Collins, Murkowski, and McConnell. And Vance had to break the tie to confirm Hegseth as the defense secretary. But
when you think about the Republican Party, what's changed so much is the people. And the 2 Republicans that voted no, Murkowski and Collins, just like Mitch, are remaining members of an old Republican Party that doesn't exist anymore. It's always the same people that you see struggling to align themselves with the rest of their colleagues, whatever the issue may be. I think it's just a bad look for them. Now here's what Adam Schiff had to say in a last effort to make a desperate pitch to prevent Cash Patel from being confirmed, which he utterly fouled. Watch.
Personnel. This is someone we cannot trust. This is someone who lacks the character to do this job, someone who lacks the integrity to do this job. We know that. Our Republican colleagues know that. The only qualification Cash Patel has to be FBI director is that when everyone else in the first Trump administration said, no, I won't do that, that crosses moral, ethical, and legal lines, Cash Patel said, sign me up. In the first Trump administration, as we are seeing in the second, you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and no one is a bigger or more dangerous sycophant than Cash Patel. This political hack does not deserve to be in this building.
Now, clearly, those statements are coming from someone who is censored by Congress for his outrageous statements on that whole Russia, Russia, Russia hoax. and is clearly not a great example of someone who should be speaking about qualifications and credibility, whether or not they deserve to be the FBI director. He's the last person who would want to hear from, and absolutely represents what's wrong with politics and the way that the media likes to report the stories. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that President Trump announced that there will be no more federal funding or benefits or anything of the like going to illegal immigrants. This is huge. Of course, progressives are going to melt down over this, but first, let's hear additional details.
President Trump signing an executive order ending all federal taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants.
Lucas Tomlinson is live in Washington with more. Hey, Lucas.
Well, good morning, Ainsley. Good morning, guys. Some eye-opening numbers for you this morning. President Trump's executive order bars illegal aliens from receiving federally funded benefits to the total of $177 billion. And here's a little breakdown for you. It includes $59 billion for Obamacare premium tax credits, $43 billion for the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit, $40 billion for Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program, $15 billion for food stamps, $13 billion for children nutrition programs, and $4 billion for the supplemental security income. A lot of acronyms for you this morning. The Federation for American Immigration Reform estimates that federal expenditures on illegal aliens in 2023 total nearly $66.5 billion. This includes more than $23 billion in federal medical expenditures and $11.6 billion in welfare benefits. The Manhattan Institute estimates that every new illegal immigrant has about an average cost of about $130,000 to the American taxpayer. A lot of numbers this morning.
This is why it's disturbing when you see the media and the Democratic Party are defending spending $67 billion of taxpayer money in order to help illegal aliens. People who broke the law as their first act when they entered the country, not people who are standing in line and doing it the right way. Like, for example, I am a legal immigrant. I came here 25 years ago. I filed the paperwork. I got my resident status. I did all the things you're supposed to do. So on a personal level, I find it unfair that none of these people that came into our country over the last 4 years were vetted like I was. And I certainly didn't receive or have received any benefits. Why should there be an exception for any of these people? We're talking about people who did the opposite of what I did. Why are they being rewarded? What about the current American citizens like me who are doing things the right way? They pay their taxes, they serve their country, they're going out to work every day, they're doing everything they can to get ahead. But are they getting a break like these illegal aliens are? No, of course not. Now, stay with me a little longer, don't click away just yet, and keep watching, because the progressive argument about this executive order is that it's stopping funds for illegal aliens who are children, so they're not going to have legal representation. And again, that's their effort to tug on your heartstrings. The fact of the matter is, they shouldn't be in the country to begin with. Here's what Stephen Miller had to say in response to the progress so far as it pertains to mass deportation.
Is the president happy with the rate of deportations, and are there any plans to speed up the process?
Well, first of all, we all appreciate the encouragement from the media to deport as many illegal aliens as humanly possible. So thank you, and I will promise you that the full might of the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and every element and instrument of national power will be used to remove, with speed, all criminal illegals from the soil of the United States of America, to enforce final removal orders, and to ensure that this country is for American citizens and those who legally belong in this country. We inherited an ICE that was completely shuttered. We inherited a Department of Homeland Security whose sole mission was to resettle illegal aliens within the United States of America. In 30 days, the president sealed the border shut, declared the cartels to be terrorist organizations, has increased ICE deportations to levels not seen in decades, and we are shortly on the verge of achieving a pace and speed of deportations this country has never before seen. Thank you.
And Mike.
Now, we are witnessing a major shift in regard to US policy between us and Mexico and this entire immigration crisis. Right, we got a president who's designated the cartels as terrorist organizations. When was the last time that happened that you know of in your lifetime? Additionally, we've got the Department of Defense military personnel on the border, And then now what you have is the financial component, where the federal government is saying we're cutting off all money that has anything to do with illegal aliens. So I think this warrants a big thumbs up to the Trump administration. It's just common sense. Take away the incentive that's bringing these people here. These people travel through many different countries before they get to the United States and can stop in any country they like, but they choose to battle through such a dangerous journey to stop here because they're getting the free stuff. This is the same thing that happened in Europe in the 90s under the Labour leadership, and it's going on today for the same reason. Here's what Tom Homan had to say about this.
Biden, and now President Trump is rolling back and reinstituting really this congressional law that prohibits spending federal dollars on these different programs for people who are here illegally. Is that another deterrence aspect? I mean, how do you think that impacts the numbers that you have to deal with?
Well, absolutely right. I mean, Griff was right. I mean, I, for one, have been complaining about this for decades. I mean, I've been doing this 41 years. Mm-hmm. I started in 1984 in the Border Patrol. And yeah, and Clinton and Obama said the right things. They talked the talk, but they didn't walk the walk because the agencies didn't really get into the misuse of these social services, social funding. And President Biden fell off the face of the earth with it. We're in the multi-billions of dollars. And 130,000 of social services per illegal alien, that's more than most Americans make a year in the salary. So it is a major driver. I mean, I'm doing this a long time. I know how many times you hit a load house full of illegal aliens waiting for payment to get released to the people who smuggle them in the country, and how many welfare cards and food stamps and social services envelopes you see all around these homes. This has been going on for decades, and don't thank God for those, because look, these billions of dollars we're going to save that illegal aliens shouldn't be getting, they can help rebuild North Carolina. They can help rebuild California, where they're devastated by these fires. In Kentucky, there's a lot of things we can do for American citizens, the homeless vets, where these billions of dollars are illegally being given to people who aren't supposed to be here.
So clearly, people with common sense know that taxpayer money has been going to illegal aliens, period. But progressives have a different perspective, that it's federal funds that have been going to attorneys to help undocumented children. That is what the left is going to run with right now in order to, I guess, debate this issue, as they're not even going to talk about the adults. But let's go ahead and listen to that now.
So Michigan Immigrant Rights Center is a legal services organization that provides legal services to children and other non-citizens who have suffered abuse, trafficking, and persecution. And we receive some of this federal funding and serve over 800 children at this moment, and more, hundreds more every year through Know Your Rights presentations, legal services to help protect them from abuses within the systems and represent them before the adversarial immigration system where they are facing hearings and need to present themselves on their own if we were not there to accompany them. And so this stop work order has affected us as well as many other nonprofit organizations. About 26,000 children across the country are now do not have funding for legal services that they were otherwise receiving.
So my direct response to progressives who don't want to deal with this type of issue, where illegal aliens, whether it be children, adults or teenagers who are in need of legal representation. The fact of the matter is, if you didn't want them to now be experiencing this, they shouldn't have crossed the border to begin with. And that's the sticking point on this entire debate. One side doesn't care that they broke the law, doesn't care that they entered the country illegally, and doesn't really care to vet them. And of course, the other side, which is what I would label as common sense, it's border security. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments section below. What do you think about this whole debate? Do you think it's a good thing that these funds are being cut? Will that help our nation, or do you think it's important to keep these programs in place? I always like to hear from both sides. I personally think saving all these funds is another big win on part of the Doge team, because it's another thing that will reduce our nation's overall spending, which is something that Elon Musk and President Trump spoke about on the Fox News interview earlier this week. If you missed the video on that I did, it's going to be coming up right here.